Howdy folks, and welcome back to World of Warships with Rear Admiral Jingles, and today I'm featuring the Japanese Tier 10 heavy cruiser, the Zhao, and I think I've only ever shown one Zhao replay before, which is quite unusual because this is a very good ship. Sailing the Zhao for us today in this domination battle on the Islands of Ice map is Pilvanuga. I've no idea if I'm pronouncing that correctly. If I am, I apologise, but don't worry, I'm not going to be calling you Dave. So, the Zhao, Japanese Tier 10 heavy cruiser, what do you need to know about this ship? Well, she's incredibly sneaky, for one thing. She has an excellent surface detection range. She has 12 very hard-hitting 203mm guns, with flat shell trajectories and quick shell velocities, although she does have a very slow reload on these guns, 13 seconds. She's got some incredibly fast and hard-hitting torpedoes, but they only have an 8km range, and the firing arcs aren't great. So what you really don't want to be doing in the Zhao is getting into medium and short range trades with other enemy cruisers, and certainly not enemy battleships. The Zhao really can't stand up to a concentrated battering. The Zhao is, however, very good at two things. First, thanks to the outstanding performance of the high explosive shells, as a long-range fire starter and kiter, there really is no equal in World of Warships. And secondly, thanks to that excellent surface detection range and the high velocity of the 203mm shells, she's also very good for setting herself up into positions where she can unleash a devastating first strike and then melt away into the shadows, taking advantage of her excellent surface detection range. Too often you see Zhaos doing just the one thing, sitting at the back of the map, spamming enemy battleships with high explosives at long range, and they are very good at doing that. But the armour-piercing shells on this ship are not bad either. Remember, it's got 12 of these guns, and the armour-piercing shells have a muzzle velocity of 920 meters per second, and do 5,400 damage each on a citadel hit. Enemy Zhao spotted by the Shimakaze, and unfortunately he had high explosive loaded. But he managed to get the shot off without being spotted, thanks to the island obscuring line of fire, or line of sight, between himself and the enemy ship. Shimakaze has unloaded his torpedoes and ducked into cover behind the island. And you noticed that Pilvan was momentarily tracking him with torpedoes there. Not that he was going to fire the torpedoes at them, but he was trying to estimate just how quickly this guy was moving. He's now switched to the armour piercing, which is kind of unfortunate. He no longer has the side of this guy's ship to shoot at. He's just spotted the Shimakaze torpedoes, he's taken one of them, and Pilvan's really forced to fire at this point, although it's definitely not an optimal angle, and he only does 2,000 damage, purely and simply because if he was going to wait any longer, he wouldn't have been able to take the shot at all because the island would have been in the way. Pilvan's now switching back to the high explosive. Enemies out, launching his spotter aircraft. Doesn't want to get surprised by any more torpedoes, and he's used his damage control because that guy was flooding from the Shimakaze torpedo hit. And of course, now that Pilvan has switched to high explosive, the enemy Zhao starts presenting the best possible target at the best possible range to score monster hits with armour piercing. So that's a bit of a bummer, but he has managed to set a fire, and that is going to be a permanent fire, and that is going to sink this guy, because not only has he horribly overextended, but he's also used his damage control. So that is going to be not the first kill of the game, but the first kill of the game for Pilvan. Enemy Zhao's torpedo spotted. Nice little gap there. Not much of a gap, but it's big enough. He's still spotted by the aircraft that the enemy Zhao launched, so he's going to want to deal with that. Although at the moment, it doesn't appear that there is actually anything on the enemy team that's in a position to shoot back at him. Here comes the spotter aircraft. It's just appearing within AA range. He activates his defensive fire. It's not really much of a waste. There's not an enemy carrier in play that he needs to save it for. Shoots down the spotter aircraft. Enemy Khabarovsk over there, attempting to capture Bravo, so he takes the opportunity to put some long-range high explosive fire in his direction, and between him and the Shimakaze, they have managed to complete the capture of Alpha. So that's good news. There's only one capture point that's held by either team, and it's this one. That Khabarovsk has just smoked up while attempting to capture Bravo, and now that he's slowed down sufficiently, Pilvan was momentarily undetected. since the Khabarovsk wasn't spotting him from within inside his smokescreen. But now that he's taken the opportunity to put some high explosive shells into this big fat juicy Alabama, he is once again detected. But even though he's detected, nobody's targeting him. And they're not targeting him because the only two people that are actually in any kind of position to do any kind of shooting at him are the Alabama that he's raining death and destruction on with his high explosive shells, and the Khabarovsk, who's hiding inside that smoke screen waiting out the capture of Bravo. So, well, this is basically just a free damage farm on the Alabama. Alabama, perhaps realising he's bitten off a little bit more than he can chew, is trying to turn away and get into cover behind the safety of that island over there. But he's going to continue to take hits from Pilvin's high explosive shells, and as he turns away, and there's the fire that we wanted, he's also exposing the broadside of his ship to all kinds of fire from everybody else. Pilvin is now about to actually be targeted by somebody from the first time in this game, and it's the enemy Neptune. You can see, you can't really see it when you're zoomed in like this, but there is another smoke screen, and that's a lot of 152mm semi-armor piercing coming out of it. You can kind of see the smoke screen when we zoom back out again. So that's the enemy Neptune. But that's not a problem. There's a nice big island up ahead he can put between himself and the Neptune, and the Neptune has in fact now turned to start shooting at somebody else. Alabama takes a big old hit there, and it's the fire from Pilvin's 203mm guns that finish him off. Kill number 2. Now, there's the Khabarovsk, who completed the capture of Bravo, and he's going after the Shimakaze, who perhaps didn't realise that the Khabarovsk was still in there. And a Shimakaze is an easy kill for a Khabarovsk. However, Pilvin's going to do what he can to help. He's already hit him once and set him on fire. The Khabarovsk has damage controlled it. The second hit disables his engine and knocks out his torpedo launchers, sets him on fire again. Unfortunately, it's not quite going to be enough to save the Shimakaze, and I'm pretty sure the Shimakaze realises it. He's dumped his torpedoes and he's trying to run, but he's on perilously low health, and that's a Khabarovsk. The good news is that the Khabarovsk has almost certainly spotted those torpedoes, and now he's going to be sailing on a very, very predictable course as he tries to not get hit by them. I think he's actually slowed down there, which isn't a bad idea actually. Under the circumstances, if you can allow the torpedoes to pass ahead of you, that gives you a lot more leeway for manoeuvre, but it wasn't quite enough. Pilvin's got him. Kill number 3. Now, while at first glance that may seem like a decent trade, one tier 10 destroyer traded for another tier 10 destroyer, but Pilvin's team don't have any more destroyers. The Shimakaze was the last one they had, and the enemy team still have one, so that puts them at a significant tactical advantage, not to mention the fact that they also now control 2 of the capture points. So, what do you suppose is lying in wait around the other side of this island? Well, we can make some educated guesses. We know there's a Neptune in the general vicinity, and there was a Montana spotted around there somewhere as well, but let's not make educated guesses, let's find out. Pilvin launches his spotter aircraft, and sure enough, there's the enemy Montana. Now that could have been a bit of a brown alert moment, but the Montana's guns are all pointed in another direction, and he's shut his engines down. Pilvin sets a fire, he checks again with his torpedo aim indicator, and the Montana's not moving, but then his guns open up, so he's not AFK, he's just not moving. Alright. Fires some torpedoes, the Montana finally wakes up, and does start reversing, so yeah. Those torpedoes aren't going to miss. But even if they're not going to do any damage, it was worth it, because it's forced that Montana to pull back around the side of the island. So the Montana is now not in a position to actually do any kind of damage to Pilvin. And Pilvin is able to start unloading some shells at that enemy Neptune. Enemy Hindenburg's just been sunk. There's a low health target. And there's also a Bismarck. And it's only now that somebody actually bothers to target Pilvin. But whoever they are, they can't seem to make their mind up over whether or not they want to keep him targeted. It's not the Neptune. He just fired some shots over the top of the Bismarck there. Is it the Bismarck? I think his turrets are turning around, but he's never going to get them turned around in time to actually do anything. Pilvin's about to get into cover behind an island. It is the Bismarck. His guns are coming around. Too slow, Bismarck. Too slow for this Zao. But this is really only momentary relief, because if Pilvin continues on this course at this speed, he's going to clear the side of the island. The Montana is going to spot him. Remember, there's a Montana on the other side of this island, and that means that the Bismarck and the Neptune will also both be able to start shooting at him. Pilvin, are you really sure you want to do this? Are you gambling that your remaining portside torpedo launcher is going to be enough to kill the Montana? I think he is. But here's the question. Where the hell is the Montana? Where the hell is the Montana? Pilvin's not spotted. The Neptune and the Bismarck are too far away. Huh. Oh, hang on. Detected? There's the Montana. Well, that was unexpected. But his guns are all pointing the wrong way. He must have assumed Pilvin was going to double around and head back the way he came, but nope. And the Montana is the only person actually targeting Pilvin at the moment. Neither the Bismarck nor the Neptune are taking advantage of this very small window of opportunity that they have to do any kind of actual damage to Pilvin's ship. Because if Pilvin sinks that Montana, he's going to go undetected again. And did I mention how hard the Zau's torpedoes hit? There's 1, 2, 3, one more, dead Montana, and Pilvin is undetected. Although he does momentarily get re-spotted, thanks to his detection range blooming after firing his guns, and it's almost certainly the Neptune firing from that smoke screen behind the island over there. But, well, he's firing from a smoke screen. So he's not spotting his own targets, and Pilvin is once again nicely and safely undetected. Both the Neptune and the Bismarck, who has been sunk by the friendly Republic, had a fantastic opportunity to deal significant amounts of damage to Pilvin's ship here, but only as long as the Montana was alive and spotting him, and they didn't. And the Neptune in particular is going to come to regret that decision. Not so much the Bismarck, because he's dead anyway, but he had the opportunity, while Pilvin was still spotted, to do something useful, and he blew it. Now then, how about that Neptune? We can't see him, but we can see his shell traces. Armour piercing loaded. Let's see if we can guess his position. Oh, spotted as we fire the armour piercing. But again, nobody in a position to actually do anything. The Neptune, I think the Neptune is now targeting him. And that's just confirmed his exact position inside that smoke screen. So more armour piercing loaded, shots out, turn away. Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. How'd you like them apples, Mr. Neptune? You want us to do it again? Oh, did your smoke screen expire? Were you too busy pumping shells and torpedoes in the direction of that Leon to notice? Oh, that is a shame, isn't it? Kraken Unleashed, kill number 5. 3 enemy ships remaining. Oh, were those torpedoes? Those were torpedoes. That's useful. Because while we can see the Richie Lulu over there, and we can see the Yamato, we can't see the Shimakaze, and the fact that his torpedoes just got spotted. Yeah, that's very, very useful information. Somebody keeps momentarily targeting him, and it's not the Richelieu, and it's not the Yamato. It has to be the Shimakaze. Let's keep heading away from the direction where those torpedoes were spotted, and just keep raining down high explosive death and destruction on these 2 enemy battleships. That's 2 fires set on the Yamato, 2 fires set on the Richelieu. He's put the fires out, either through using his damage control, or they just expired naturally. See if we can get some more fires set. There's the Confederate award. Are these guys going to ram each other? No, I don't think they are. Whatever happens here, the Richelieu is going to lose that fight, because he's about to burn to death. And it's the Republic that takes the kill. I'm pretty sure the North Carolina... Oh, is he going to survive? He's trying to duck in cover behind the island to get out of the line of fire of the Yamato over there. More enemy torpedoes spotted, so the Shimakaze has worked his way down to the south. There's more fires on the Yamato. And the Yamato, it's hard to tell exactly which way are his guns pointing. Has he run himself aground? Oh, that is quite unfortunate, really, isn't it? He has. Oh, there's the wall of skill from the Shimakaze. And he's managed to miss the North Carolina. More fires on the Yamato. Yamato reversing off the rocks. Still can't quite tell who the Yamato's shooting at. Oh, he's shooting at the Colorado. Yes, there is a Colorado in this game. Remember we saw a Leon earlier. There's a failed division. The North Carolina has divisioned up with 2 Tier 7 battleships. So 2 Tier 7 battleships. Oh wow, and there's the Witherer Award. Yes. Despite the fact that they'd lost all of their destroyers, and they had a failed division on the team that had dragged 2 Tier 7 battleships into this Tier 10 game, they're still spanking the ass of the enemy team. You can see the Shimakaze's wall of skill over there. He's desperately trying to kill that North Carolina. But the North Carolina ain't having it, and in fact it's the Yamato's secondaries that finish him off. But the Yamato is not going to last much longer. He's caught in a crossfire. There are shots coming in from all directions. And surprisingly, despite the fact that these are very high velocity, high explosive shells, at this kind of range, Pilven is still able to lob them over the top of that island. Which means the poor old Yamato doesn't even have any kind of breather. Even there. We spotted some torpedoes again, however. Yeah, he's done. Oh, and there's the Arsonist Award to go with the Witherer, High Caliber, Confederate, Kraken Unleashed. He's just showing off at this point, isn't he? Just the Shimakaze left. Doesn't have radio position finding. But you don't need radio position finding to figure out where the enemy destroyer is going to be. You just need to be able to talk to your teammates. Now, we did also see his torpedoes earlier, and they were coming from that direction. But every time we saw a fresh torpedo launch, they were coming from further and further south. However, that doesn't mean that he has headed to the south. He could have turned around and headed up to the north. So how are you going to figure out which way to go? Well, talk to your teammates. Have any of you been spotted? And if anybody's likely to be spotted by a Shimakaze heading north, it's going to be that Colorado over there. So, Mr. Colorado, have you been spotted? Colorado replies, funny you should ask, actually, yes I have, and launches his spotter aircraft. And then Pilven gets some even more useful intelligence information. He's been spotted by the Shimakaze's RPF, so that tells him straight away that he is now the closest ship to the Shimakaze. And then he gets hard detected by the Shimakaze as well, so that tells him that the Shimakaze is inside his surface detection range. And this is a ZOW. That means the Shimakaze is very, very close indeed, and he's being targeted by him, which almost certainly means that there are torpedoes on the way. And what do we do if we suspect that there are torpedoes on the way, boys and girls? We change course, and we fire our own torpedoes, back in the general direction where we're expecting to see enemy torpedoes coming from. And yep, exactly as predicted, there are the Shimakaze's torpedoes, but not all of them. That's only one torpedo launcher. Also, we are still detected. Now that tells us that the Shimakaze has not doubled around and is heading south. Otherwise, that island over there on the left would be blocking his line of sight, and Pilven would no longer be detected. And yep, there's the second torpedo launcher. So the Shimakaze is still bolting to the north, and he should still have one torpedo launcher ready to go. So let's start turning in. Once again, we don't sail the same course and speed when we know that there's an enemy destroyer who may still have a torpedo launcher. Pilven's launched his spotter aircraft. Going to give him a better chance of actually spotting, well, not just any torpedoes, but also that Shimakaze. And he's once again the closest ship to the enemy Shimakaze, which once again tells him that this guy is very, very close indeed. And that Shimakaze has to be sweating bullets at this point, because there he is. Pilven's anticipated his movements perfectly. Realising he's about to die because there's a ZOW right on top of him and has been spotted, the Shimakaze triggers his engine boost and runs like a rat up a drainpipe, but he's reckoned without Pilven's spotter aircraft, which keeps him spotted for a few more seconds, allowing Pilven to farm even more damage on this guy. But he is going to get away with it, because while he's only got a few seconds to live, a few seconds is all that remains of this match, as Pilven team reaches 1,000 points and wins the game on points. So, that was Pilvenuga running up an absolute cricket score against the enemy team in the Imperial Japanese Tier 10 heavy cruiser, the ZOW. Farming all of the badges in the process. I mean, that's all of them, isn't it? I mean, oh wait, no. He didn't get Liquidator in Clear Sky. Pilvenuga, you're clearly not trying hard enough. Anyway, thank you for sending that one in. Everybody else, I hope you enjoyed it. And as always, take care, and I'll catch you next time.